what's going on and what's happening on Earth, it's very depressing, and it totally fits with biblical prophecy, because it appears that both gray aliens and reptilians are feeding on human bodies. That's one of the things that you learn. We need to get rid of these human traffickers. We need to get these aliens out of here, because they are demons, and it's worse than you think. It's a lot worse than you think. What's going on with the border? Most of those people are not going to become American citizens. That's what they call a meat wagon. And I heard about meat wagons all the way back in 2010, that they let people through the border, they put them on a bus, they drive them into an underground base, and whatever happens from there.
We are very much aware of that. I wasn't going to get into that in this, but since you bring it up, it's confirmed through so many sources, people on the ground. We know that's happening. You're exactly right. And it's not just children, it's adults too.
If you look at, see, I can say things on Brighteon that I'd never want to say on YouTube.
That's true, yeah. Well, welcome to Brighteon. Go for it, you know?
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. There's a movie called Jupiter Ascending that was made by the Wachowskis, which they're the sisters who made The Matrix, right? I guess they identify as women now. So when we see Jupiter Ascending, there's reptilians and there's grays in the movie. And the spindly little grays are also answering to these people who in the movie are humans, but they're human-looking extraterrestrials, and they work with the reptilians. And what you find out in Jupiter Ascending is that these human-looking extraterrestrials are soaking in a liquid bath that's made from human bodies. This is apparently what grays have to do to survive. That's why their DNA is breaking down, is that their genetics, they cloned themselves off of a small subject pool. But the part that we don't know is that the way that they try to stay alive is by using human growth factors and stem cells. And we, as in our secret government, have made the grays an alternative option that can keep them alive, but they don't like the taste. So they're still human trafficking. So like if you go back to the Tom DeLonge disclosures that happened in whenever that was, 2015-ish, or whatever year it was, I can't really remember now, maybe 2017, something like that. But anyway, when the Tom DeLonge stuff came out, they showed you these sightings from a UFO around the USS Nimitz. You remember that? Of course you do. Okay, I'm going to tell you something really dark, and I'm sorry, but what's happening is that those UFOs are pulling up to corrupted U.S. military elements, and then they pick up their payment from the ship. If you follow what I'm saying by payment, they're picking up their payments. Our military is doing this. We took a crappy deal. We took a horrible deal. And we now have enough technology that we can actually get rid of these people and stop the payments. But in order to do that, we're going to need a civilian space force. We're going to need a civilian-led, or at least a civilians with military, so that we can go against corrupted aspects of our own infrastructure that are actually cooperating with these beings and using this for their own sustenance, I guess. And wouldn't you know, I got a tractor driving right behind me.
No, it's okay. And then, you know, Trump, of course, highlighted Space Force, and it's something that I think the Biden regime is trying to shut down. But politics aside, there are, at least according to the sources I've spoken with, white hat sources inside military intelligence and also Space Force and so on, that are you know, talking amongst themselves and to certain people about this battle is being waged right now. This is actually happening.
There is a war going on with the Draco right now, and Pete would talk to me about this, and he said that we were winning. There's about, from what Pete said, there's about 3,500 of these ships out there that Ben built, at least, that we're using. And he said there's Americans all over the galaxy. He said that we have colonized 65 locations off planet Earth throughout the galaxy, and that each one of these locations typically will have at least 3,500 soldiers there. So the big thing is to fight these reptilians. In fact, I just got a whole bunch of new information on the Draco today, believe it or not. They are distributed all throughout the constellation Draco. And apparently the reason the constellation Draco was named that way is because there's a lot of them out there. Right. So we are going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to deal with the human trafficking. We're going to have to stop. So what I'm trying to say, Mike, is that there's a direct through line between Greys, Satanism, Illuminati, human trafficking, and extraterrestrial UFO sightings, okay? Let me explain this to you, because I wanted to do this somewhere, but not on YouTube.
Understandably, yes.
So Aleister Crowley arguably is the author of Satanism. The modern Satanism that the Cabal follows was created by Aleister Crowley. They love him, okay? And I'm sure you know that. So what you may not realize is that Aleister Crowley was contacted by a being called Lam, L-A-M, and if you look up Lam, it's a gray, or it looks grayish. It's like a gray hybrid with more human-looking eyes. Lam is the being that taught Crowley how to do satanic ceremonies, how to summon beings like him, okay, which involves the sacrificing of life forms. So the aliens brought this to us. Do you understand? They want the elite to practice this, and an alien taught Crowley how to do Satanism. So these are demons, and you talk about this, Mike, but I'm just trying to connect some dots for you. So what then happens is...
Well, yeah, but just a second, if you don't mind me interjecting.
Sure.
Just to help connect the dots for the listeners here as well. So when we talk about globalists and their current spike protein release for human depopulation, or what I've called trying to transform the planet into a post-human future, this is just a subset of what you're talking about, which is the extraterrestrial, the evil extraterrestrials have come in and taught the globalists how to do this, and actually how to empower more invocations of those dark forces through the mass extermination and sacrifice of living, conscious human beings. Is that correct?
Right. So here's my understanding. Not all Greys are doing this, okay? So I want to make that clear. There appear to be other... I mean, obviously, we're in a huge galaxy, and everybody looks human, so there's going to be humans that have big eyes that are not evil. However, one of the main contingents of Greys that are here, that are working with our secret government, they require human protein to survive, or so they think. They like the taste. They soak in it like a bath. I don't know how they prepare it. I don't know... They don't need, so the Greys apparently don't need Satanism to be involved in the preparation of the food, but the reptilians do. The reptilians, they prefer to eat meat, whereas the Greys actually do kind of like a blended human shake.
A human smoothie, yeah, got it.
So I'm sorry to talk about this, but I feel like I got to get this out somehow. You know, if something happened to me, I wanted to make sure everybody knows this. So I don't think anything will, but, you know.
Well, you know, if you don't mind me interjecting again,
sure.
Let's remember that a couple of U.S. states have legalized the liquefaction of dead human remains to be flushed into the municipal sewer systems, which is collected by, trucks, and it's called then biosolids, and it's spread onto the farms to be used as fertilizer. And this is something that we've documented extensively. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because this recycling of kind of like the Matrix, where the living are ground up and fed, the dead are fed to the living, which was in the Matrix 1999, this is actually happening even without the other things that you've just mentioned. So for anybody watching...
The Wachowski movie Jupiter Ascending talks about it.
Right.
And then Cloud Atlas, right? They got the soap, which is a human drink that they're drinking.
Yeah, so this is, if anybody watching this is saying, oh, this couldn't possibly be true, go look up Washington state law about disposing of human remains in the sewer system that was legalized, I think, 2 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know that. That's disgusting.
Well, it's part of the biosludge.
It's a Mike Adams show. You got to expect anything when you get on with Mike Adams.
Well, no, you're hitting me with all kinds of stuff I didn't know, so keep going.
Well, I want you to know this because everybody in your community, my community, our community, we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about demons, and I want to make some dots connect, okay? So that you understand that what the Bible was talking about is absolutely true. So the Greys apparently don't need the victim to be tortured at all. They could take any human, it doesn't matter. But with the Draco, they really need the victim to have suffered. Part of